So I got the Tornado V3 Pioneer Edition UV coated, that's such a confusing name, a week ago, and today I'm going to be talking about it 2 days after I competed using that cube. I'm not going to really be doing a full review since I already did a review on the flagship Tornado V3, and I'll probably put a link to that if you want to check it out. Out of the box, it was fast. It was borderline uncontrollable, but it was still pretty controllable, so that's why I say borderline. The UV coating looked pretty good, and it felt a little bit more grippy to me when I first tested it. And I also heard how the Tornado V3's coating is not as thick as the Worm V9's coating or the GAN 13's coating, and I also did mention that in my unboxing video, but I think when I competed it didn't really feel that different. Now that we got all of the basic details out of the way, let's talk about my thoughts on the cube. So first off, immediately after I unboxed that cube, I did put in some Mystic DNM and Silk in that cube, and after that I was also messing around with the settings a bit so I could figure out a setting that would be controllable and not too overly fast with my turning, and it was actually kind of a pain in the butt to actually do that. I mean, the customization system is pretty easy to use. You have the handle, which for some reason on the white side it broke. Aside from that, I just could not find a setting that was actually that great for my turning style, at least. I remember that whole week before I competed, I was literally customizing that cube. I would change the settings to figure out which one would be good, and I think literally the day before the competition I figured out a somewhat okay setting. But yeah, I feel like with the maglev it doesn't really work for me, at least. I guess with the maglev it kind of makes it a little bit more difficult to figure out a controllable setting, especially with the added speed that maglev gives and the reduction of friction, which actually I don't really feel, but maybe it's with like the springs and stuff. And I think with the turning I would get a bunch of good solves, but I would also get some bad solves. Like even on both on my good and bad solves I did end up catching a little bit, but I feel like when I make a bit of mistakes during, and especially during competition too, like during my bad solves and my solves at the competition, where I'm gonna be a little bit nervous and stuff, probably because of also the pressure of having a camera in front of me, because I decided to film my solves even though I probably shouldn't have. It kind of exacerbated the catching a little bit. Whenever my hands would be a little bit sweaty, even after using the towel to dry my hands a little, I still wouldn't be able to turn that well. And I guess because I'm shaking a little bit during the solves, I would be not turning the correct layers, and like because my hands are on another layer while I'm trying to turn one layer, often it won't turn sometimes because of that, and I end up messing up turns, or I end up wasting time trying to figure out how to turn the cube during the competition. And I honestly thought it was not going to really be a problem, especially with like the UV coating. I think that with the cube, with the maglev and stuff, I think there's probably a reason why I bought the flagship one in the beginning. I think with that, I feel like the maglev actually kind of amplifies a bunch of the like catches I would get sometimes. So I think with that, I'm probably gonna go back to my Worm V9, although I probably should demaglev it, but I'm too lazy to. Or I'm actually in the middle of trying out the Chi Emperor right now. Maybe I could switch to that. I think my full review on the MGC Evo version 2 and on the Chi Emperor will also be coming up sometime this month, so be sure to stay tuned for that. And things can change the more I use it and if I change the setup and the settings a bit, but I think right now, I think this is just mainly my thoughts on it at this current moment that I'm recording this, and it will probably change the more I use it, and I'll probably update y'all on it. And I think that's pretty much it for this little thoughts video on the UV coated Tornado V3 Pioneer, and thank you all for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.